Topping a legendary list in NFL history certainly sounds elite. Gotta say, most impactful sounds pretty sweet as well. Best signing ever? Aight, we're getting a little redundant here. How many descriptors do we need to define this move? Stunning? I guess not enough. Which honestly, fair. In just one season after testing free agency, running back Saquon Barkley had a record-setting season en route to winning a Super Bowl with his new squad, the Philadelphia Eagles. If hoisting the Lombardi Trophy is the ultimate reward, then achieving that goal in the single season is an incredible payoff. While the Eagles were being crowned as geniuses for signing Saquon, his ex-team had their reasons, and surely people didn't overreact and had nice things to say about their decision-making for letting them go. Right? Come on. That's not very nice. Saquon Barkley's decision to sign with the Eagles in free agency was a big deal. Oh, hey there. Let me push you on some game real quick. If you didn't know about our Patreon, then you need to change that. Over there, you can find tons of exclusive stuff every Monday, like early releases of episodes, our podcast, and so much more. So treat yourself and become a subscriber. But for now, let's get back to the action. Okay, we've established. Eagles smart, Giants dumb. While life at times can be that simple, that's not exactly the case here. I'm sure Saquon wouldn't trade anything for his championship ring, but he had dreams of achieving that goal with the Giants and no one else. Now, some New York executives called bullshit on him wanting to be a Giant for life, but the organization losing its once franchise star ultimately came down to disrespect. It was all avoidable. Let's set the stage. The Giants selected Saquon second overall in the 2018 draft. The selection initially seemed like a misguided decision, taking a running back so high, especially with an aging quarterback, but former Giants GM Dave Gettleman saw a future Hall of Famer who had been touched by the hand of God. Maybe a little excessive, but in his debut season, Saquon indeed looked heavenly as he sauced up defenders, leading the league in scrimmage yards, finishing his rookie year with some hardware. It's a high standard to set straight out the gates, but a high ankle sprain in his second season, followed by an ACL injury in his third, and another ankle injury in his fourth, made it tough for Saquon to replicate that type of production. Despite the setbacks, he still had productive seasons good enough for then GM Gettleman to pick up his fifth-year option. Emphasis on the then, because as Saquon entered his fifth year, there was a new head honcho in the Big Apple as Joe Schoen took over general manager duties. Journalists labeled Shane as a man who operated with positional value principles in mind, and as running backs continued to be devalued across the league, it didn't appear the new GM would come in itching to pay Saquon. This is where the early seeds of disrespect were planted. After having a tremendous bounce-back season in 2022, helping propel New York to the postseason, Saquon and the Giants front office engaged in several months of intense contract talks. It got heated enough that Saquon threatened to sit out the season completely before both sides agreed on a one-year franchise tag deal, avoiding further mess and bringing Barkley back in 2023. After that, conversations moving forward were almost non-existent, and the relationship between both sides soured, as evidenced by the scars from the negotiations playing out all too clearly in front of audiences during a 2024 offseason episode of the TV series Hard Knocks.
Just mulling over this, the right thing to do is let you test the market and see what your value is. If you really want to be a Giant for life and you're interested in staying here and coming back, just see what your market is and then have Ed come back to us and we'll see if we can come to an agreement.
Okay, telling your star player to test the market is definitely an awkward conversation, but that's just the business of the game. I'm sure Saquon understands.
All right, I appreciate that.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Can you give me your word on that, or you're not going to give us a chance?
What do you mean? Like circling back?
Yeah.
I mean, I already told you where I want to be, so.
Right. Saquon sounded so thrilled by the proposition of going back to the Giants to proudly show what he's worth to get a deal from the team he already said he wanted to be on. How thoughtful of New York. So that left Saquon with two options. Behind door number one, he could return to the team he knew and loved, but he first had to open the other door to gauge interest and come back with a figure for New York to evaluate. Before we see what lies behind door number two, let's take a step back for a second. Saquon was in a position to control his future because of a decision he made in the past. Shane and the Giants offered Saquon a multi-year extension during the 2022 campaign, but Saquon turned down the offer, fully aware the team could hit him with a franchise tag at the end of the season. When he put his pride to the side, not wanting to go through an extended holdout, he assumed risk by playing on a one-year deal and now had the reward to choose where he wanted to play next. While the ball was now in Saquon's court, journalists applauded Shane's thinking of letting a potentially cold market allow New York to retain him at a low rate. Except in reality, Saquon was never going back to the Giants. After the phone call that aired on Hard Knocks, which Saquon had no idea was being recorded, he had all the clarity he needed, and he wasn't prepared to run back to the Giants with his tail tucked between his legs. He felt like it was a slap in the face to be asked to shop around when he had made it crystal clear he wanted to be a Giant. The idea that they only wanted him if he could prove his worth, then maybe they would take him back, didn't sit right with Saquon. Plus, what Shane and league trends perceived to be a cold market for a veteran running back turned out to be piping hot for Saquon. Behind door number two was a slew of teams who had the trifecta of bread to pay him with the need and want to land him. Being the belle of the ball is a lovely feeling, but it was a gut punch for Saquon seeing outsiders fawn over him more than the franchise he'd been with his entire career. While there were initially a half dozen teams that threw their hat in the ring, three serious contenders emerged: the Houston Texans, Chicago Bears, and Philadelphia Eagles. For the Texans, it appeared everything had fallen perfectly in line for them to land Saquon. The need was clearly there, as Houston finished fourth to last in total rushing offense a year prior and had last year's ineffective starters set to hit free agency, which helped open up cap space for Saquon. The interest couldn't be louder, as head coach DeMeco Ryans hit the offseason and vowed that the franchise would address the running game. The fit even made sense. With quarterback CJ Stroud coming off a strong Rookie of the Year campaign, the addition of Saquon's pass-catching ability could have been a dangerous insertion into an already high-powered offense. Hell, Saquon initially seemed to be on board. On an episode of the New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason Kelsey, Saquon detailed the early stages of chopping it up with CJ about the possibility of joining forces. But similarly to Houston, the attraction of building a future with a young quarterback was promising, as Chicago had the #1 overall pick in the upcoming draft, and all signs pointed to them selecting Heisman-winning quarterback Caleb Williams. Strapped with the 9th overall pick in the same draft and eyes on choosing a receiver, Saquon could have completed a full skill position overhaul, adding an explosive threat out the backfield, which Chicago lacked. In terms of money, Chicago was prepared to throw a bag at Saquon. Bears GM Ryan Poles was a known shopper in free agency, not afraid to spend, reportedly driving up the price and knocking other teams out of contention for Saquon, but his heavy investments, specifically along the offensive line, pointed to the franchise ready to go all in to acquire him. Media members predicted Chicago as the top spot. People close to Saquon thought the Bears were the wisest move, and Saquon admitted that he was pretty damn close to signing with Chicago. But Chicago presented potential. Philadelphia offered the trusty trifecta of the other franchises while bringing some extra sauce to the table. They knew how to win. With a recent track record of deep playoff runs, a chance to rush behind arguably the league's best offensive line, and proximity to his Pennsylvania hometown, the decision felt like a no-brainer. The only small thing that would have deterred Saquon from signing with Philly was the potential of catching slack because he played for their division rival. Other than that, his list was filled with nothing but positives. More than anything, Saquon finally just felt valued. When he became available as a free agent, Eagles GM Howie Roseman put on the full court press from the jump, doing whatever it took to get Saquon to the Eagles. The rest is history. If you're a Giants fan or just someone who loves to point the finger at another person's slip-ups, it's extremely easy to say in hindsight the Giants fucked up by paying quarterback Daniel Jones instead of Saquon, especially considering their highest offer reportedly was a minuscule amount off of Philly's deal. Sure, Danny Dimes wasn't poised to be some top 5 QB, but zero people predicted he would regress so awfully that the Giants would cut ties with him completely. And if the Giants were to pay Saquon, I don't think he would have magically fixed New York's problems being forced to run behind one of the NFL's worst O-lines. And again, still using hindsight, of course choosing Philly made the most sense. If the mission is to avoid getting hit and have the best shot at winning a title, it obviously makes sense to squad up with the best big boys up front who've shown they can push bodies around deep into the playoffs. His decision paid dividends, but none of that would have been possible without Saquon first betting on himself. He took the gamble of playing on a one-year deal, knowing his value could plummet if he were to ever get seriously injured. The Giants came with big offers, which Saquon ultimately declined, and called out the org for painting him as some money-hungry individual. He knew his worth and contributions to the team's success, and he just wanted to be valued as such. It was all about respect for him, plain and simple. Losing a franchise star over disrespect is a tough pill to swallow, as seen by the public crash out by the Giants community, New York media members, fans, and the owner included. But Saquon's decision is truly a tale of trusting your gut and betting on yourself. Not saying you'll have immediate success and reach the heights of winning whatever the Super Bowl up your field is, but believing in yourself could be the difference maker. Because ultimately, life's choices are in your hands, and Saquon's decision to join the Eagles turned out to be a tremendous deal. Thanks for watching this episode of Big Deal. If you enjoyed this and find yourself already itching for more content, don't worry, we got you covered. You can find plenty of heat right here on YouTube weekly. And if you're looking for something extra, don't forget to check out our Patreon. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe and keep on coming back.